Hello, brides and grooms. I hope your wedding planning is going absolutely amazing. I get the question quite often, Sean, should we do a first look for our wedding? Well, if you're gonna ask me my opinion, the answer is always yes. There are just so many pros to having a first look, which basically means should you two see each other before the wedding. And in this quick video, I'm gonna go over some of those pros and why you might want to consider them for your event. So probably the number one reason that I recommend a first look is so we can get, well, more unique photos. So there are a lot of wedding venues that are absolutely gorgeous, but you're only gonna get married once. You're only gonna have the opportunity to take photos on your wedding day once. So why not give yourself the opportunity to go to some really unique locations? Let me give you an example. A lot of times I will do weddings in Estes Park, which is obviously very beautiful and has some amazing venues. But one thing I love to do with my couples is to have the first look and then go off site for additional photos in Rocky Mountain National Park or in other areas where there's just some gorgeous mountain scenery. So that is probably my biggest selling point as to why I absolutely love first looks on the wedding day. Another big advantage to doing a first look is the fact that we're going to have a lot less pressure and time constraints to get all of your photos done. So traditionally, after the ceremony, you use that hour, cocktail hour, to get as many photos done as possible. You'll get immediate family, extended family, wedding party, and of course, couple photos after the ceremony. That takes a lot of time, and especially if you have a really big family, that's gonna eat up almost all of your cocktail hour, if not extend past it. So if we have a first look, we can do a lot of those photos beforehand. In fact, we can do pretty much everything with the exception of extended family. And if we have more time too, we can even do some more photos of the two of you. So if you're the type of couple that really places a high priority and a high value on wedding photographs, doing a first look is gonna be such a huge relief for you, and it's gonna make your life so much easier and your wedding day a lot more enjoyable. And speaking of making your wedding day a lot more enjoyable, another big selling point for having a first look is the fact that you'll be able to enjoy cocktail hour. So one of my favorite parts about a wedding is the fact that it's one of the only times in your life where you're gonna have all your friends and family together in one place. And as such, you're gonna wanna spend as much time with them as possible. So if we do a lot of the photos done beforehand, because we did a first look, you're gonna be able to enjoy cocktail hour, and you're gonna be able to mingle with them and celebrate with them and have a lot more time with your family and friends. Now, this might not apply to everyone. I know from experience that sometimes when people, a bride and groom, a groom and groom, a bride and bride, whoever, the first time a wedding couple sees each other for the first day on a wedding, it's a powerful moment. It can be, very emotional, and some people, yes, want to stick to tradition and experience that with everyone, but some people really enjoy having that moment together in private and enjoying that moment together. That way, when it does come time for the actual ceremony, the pressure is off a little bit. They're not so in their head. Again, that might be different depending on your situation and what you value, but I do know with a lot of my couples, it does take the edge off a little bit to see each other before the ceremony. And finally, another big advantage to doing a first look is if something goes wrong, you have a lot more time to play with. And what I mean by that, let me actually give you a perfect example, which is a weather delay. I did a first look recently with a bride and groom, and we got every single one of the photos on their portrait list done before the ceremony. Well, it was game time. Their ceremony is at 4 o'clock, and it started dumping rain it was so bad that they had to postpone the wedding 45 minutes. And because we already had done all our photos beforehand, we were actually able to stay on time with the rest of the wedding and not push the kitchen back to get food out or anything like that. So if you can only imagine, if they didn't do a first look and we had to do all those photos that we did beforehand after the ceremony, the venue would have been really upset because they would have had to push the kitchen back. The guests would have been upset because they were really hungry. And then more than likely the bride and groom would have been upset because, you know, the wedding's going behind schedule. So those are the 5 reasons why I highly recommend doing a first look. Now, of course, there are plenty of couples out there that want to stick to tradition and not wait to see each other until the ceremony. And that is totally fine if that is something you want to do. I just want to provide you as much value and as much, of my experience up front so I can set expectations on what you can get if you do a first look. If you do want to stick to tradition, not wait to see each other till the ceremony, one big thing I do recommend to my couples that I do offer to everyone if it's something you want to add on is to do an additional photo session on another day after the wedding. And I actually really like these as well because not only is the pressure off a little bit to get photos done in a certain time frame, but it also gives us the opportunity to be a little bit more flexible with our schedule and our timing so we can get the best light for the photos and also look for some really unique locations that maybe we couldn't visit on the day of the wedding. If you have any more questions about your wedding planning, I am always available. Please send me an email at info@seanlara.com or give me a call. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you all.